Foundation program, an innovation that will enable businesses and consumers to identify counterfeits from an electronic database. Say no to counterfeits for your prosperity, health, and safety. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1.
Every day, over 15 million members are transforming Africa. Million members empowered to learn, to create, to grow, to harvest, to lead, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Kupata lazima nishike. Kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *811 962 hash.
Lazima nishike mapema. Nisiposhika simu mapema utakasirika. Unajua mimi nikiwa mtu ya marathon najua niko na experience kabisa. Niko na experience. If you don't hurry, you will not break the record. Okay, wacha nishike simu.
Kupata lazima nishike, bonyeza *811 962 hash. *811 962 hash.
It's 9 p.m. in Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome to KBC Prime Edition. This Monday, the 13th of June 2022, the day the world is celebrating World Albinism Day. Here at home, the government is calling on parents with children who have albinism to let them come out. And so we have all that coming up, including our top stories tonight.
National Forensic Laboratory, Kenya's ability to tackle emerging digital and advanced crimes goes a notch higher. Worrying trend. Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate jumps to 9.9%. Heroic welcome. Triumphant Kenyan team to the African Athletic Championships in Mauritius jets back into the country.
Many thanks indeed for joining us. My name is Mboya, our sign language interpreter. Lensa Odinga, our socials at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle at Mboya24, #Prime Edition. Our top story, President Uhuru Kenyatta says the country is now in a position to deal with the emerging digital and advanced crimes bedeviling the country in the wake of modern technology progression. Speaking when he commissioned the National Forensic Laboratory at the Directorate of Criminal Investigation headquarters, the head of state noted that criminals and their networks are using advancements in technology to perpetrate crime. And as Kamche Meza reports, the president termed the laboratory a milestone, saying government will use the facility to solve complex crimes. Here's that report.
After close to 2 decades of actualizing the dream of a national forensic laboratory that will assist security personnel in handling advanced crimes, finally the dream has come to fruition. On Monday, President Uhuru Kenyatta commissioned the facility at the Directorate of Criminal Investigation headquarters.
Our shared commitment to unraveling capital offenses such as murder and robbery with violence and combating emerging and transnational organized crimes such as terrorism, drug trafficking, illicit arms trade, counterfeiting, smuggling, and offenses against wildlife also gets a monumental boost today.
President Kenyatta highlighting the digital challenges faced by entrepreneurs in the wake of new digital crimes that have seen Kenyans duped.
As we aspire for a Kenyan where every citizen, enterprise, and organization has digital access and the capacity to participate and thrive in the digital economy, a new wave of crime is equally emerging that involves such things as swim swapping and the typical Tumakwahi number syndicate, all of which we must deal with properly.
The effort personally, even of supervising this, the construction, equipping, and everything, myself having been even involved in several visits here to ensure that we give Kenyans exactly what you have intended for them to have for better services as far as crime management is concerned in the country.
The lab is equipped with latest analytical technology that will revolutionize investigative techniques based on evidence, resulting in safer and timely justice to Kenyans.
As a supplementary dividend, it will also protect our police officers from unfounded allegations that have been there in the past.
That one way we can pay tribute to His Excellency the President is to use these resources effectively to make Kenyans even much more proud because of the turnaround time in investigations, because the song about sending samples to South Africa is coming to an end today. The song about a file has disappeared is coming to an end today.
You have taken us to another level of our capacity in investigations that will go beyond the borders of this country.
The enhancement of the efficiency and effectiveness of the investigations will no doubt have a positive ripple effect throughout the justice sector.
At the same time, President Kenyatta directed the National Police Service to introduce mandatory and continuous development programs on cyber security to all crime investigation officers. The official opening of this forensic laboratory now spells a new dimension for the security personnel in the country in how they will be handling crime in the country and beyond. Kamche Meza for Prime Edition at the DCI headquarters, Nairobi.
Well, on to the story that's on the lips of many. Nairobi County gubernatorial aspirant Johnson Sakaja says that the complainant in a petition against his clearance on academic qualification omitted his credentials. In a replying affidavit to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Dispute Committee, Sakaja maintains that he graduated with a degree in Bachelor of Science in Management from Tim University, that's in Uganda, and the complaint is a smear campaign against him. As Sarafina Robi reports, the High Court has also quashed a decision by the IEBC requiring all political parties to comply with the two-thirds gender principle. These and more from the corridors of justice.
Johnson Sakaja's clearance by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was thrown into disarray after a petitioner claimed he had submitted fake academic papers. In a replying affidavit to the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee, Sakaja faulted the petitioner for not acknowledging that he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Management from Tim University in Uganda. Meanwhile, a Nairobi voter, George Bush, has filed a complaint against another Nairobi gubernatorial aspirant, Polycarp Igathe, claiming he shouldn't have been cleared after resigning as Nairobi deputy governor. The complaints will be heard and determined on the 15th of June 2022. In the meantime, Kiambu senatorial aspirant Karungo Athangwa has filed a complaint against rejection of his registration on allegations of failing to comply with statutory timelines and having a pending suit in court. Through his lawyer Nganga Mbugwa, Karungo argued that a court order restraining IEBC from receiving his papers was lifted by a 3-judge bench and that he was never impeached from office as alleged.
The governor did not remove Mr. Thangwa, and you will find the answer in the letter at page 12.
Finally, the High Court has quashed a decision by the IEBC requiring all registered political parties to comply with the two-thirds gender principle in submission of the nomination list. Justice Anthony Mrima ruled that the requirement contravened Article 10 of the Constitution for want of public participation and hence amounts to direct derogation of political rights. Subsequently, the letter by IEBC to the United Democratic Alliance to revise their nomination list has been quashed. Sarafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Well, we have our finger on the pulse of that story on the embattled Senator Johnson Sakaja. Now, there is an item here on women and elections, and stakeholders in women's rights advocacy have raised concern over the rising cases of violence against women during the election period. FIDA Kenya Executive Director Anne Ireri says preliminary reports indicate a rising trend in online harassment, calling for a collaborative approach to create a safe space for women aspirants. Safina Chengo Uma reports.
Less than 60 days to the general election, the Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya held a meeting with a section of members of the Kenya Editors Guild and women aspirants to discuss the role of the media in supporting women's participation in politics. Stakeholders from the media sector used the platform to challenge women aspirants to be strategic in order to secure equal coverage in the media.
1 out of 4 people heard or read about in news are women. That translates to about 24%. So that means if you did not mind mathematics like I do, it means about 76% are men.
In the newsroom, we don't talk of equal coverage. We talk of equitable coverage. You will not get coverage if you're not doing something worth coverage. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman.
According to the Executive Director of the Association of Media Women in Kenya, Judy Kaberia, a lot has been achieved through training of journalists on gender-sensitive reporting, but more needs to be done.
If we look at the representation, out of the 1,883 elected positions in the country, women account for only 172. And it's on this premise that we've been training journalists on why it is important for us to ensure
to reverse if he clinches the presidency in the forthcoming polls. Weekly for Cage with more details on Odinga's forays in Gusiland.
The coalition's activities in Kisii County began with the burial service of Priska Asanyo, mother to former Kitutu Church North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Asanyo. Here, the leaders called for the sobriety of the electorate while making the big decision during the August 9 polls.
Vile tunakuja kuomboleza mama ambaye amefanya kazi, nasi tufanye kazi kwa makini wakati wa uchaguzi. Tutofautishe mema na mabaya, ukweli na uongo.
Odinga then led the Azimio battalion in campaign rallies in Etago and Nyamarambe in South Mugirango to sell the coalition's recently launched manifesto, which entails, among other things, the social protection program.
Mambo ya wizi ya hali ya juu, hujuma ya mali ya umma na imeathiri maendeleo katika taifa letu. Na tunaweza kumaliza haya yote, Kenya inuke. Si mko tayari? Mko tayari? Mmechoka mjachoka? Si mmechoka na haya mambo? Ndio tunasema sisi kama watu wa Azimio ya kwamba tuko na suluhu.
Now we have come a long way. We mean business. And if we are going to have to fight corruption, as my brother Raila said, and everybody knows, kwamba with Martha Karua, mambo ya ufisadi kwisha.
Odinga said should he emerge victorious in the forthcoming polls, he will ensure the region's soapstone industry thrives to its full potential.
Juzi mliona tulizindua ile manifesto yetu. Tukasema yale tunataka kufanya. Upande wa fukara tukasema tunataka kujenga viwanda, vijana wapate ajira sawa sawa. Tukasema tunataka kusaidia wakulima wetu na vifaa vya kulima kama matingatinga, kama mbegu sawa sawa, kama mbolea na kadhalika, sio?
The coalition urged local farmers to back Raila, promising them of improved agricultural returns.
Sasa baba atasafisha kila kitu, kilimo mabadiliko waendee naye. Sasa hii eneo la sukari tutalipa ile madeni ya wakulima imebaki, tulipe ile wafanyikazi, tusafishe ile kura huko, hii eneo la sugar mill tuweze kuendelea. Kama sisi wa Kisii County tutafunga bao in 90 minutes na mara hiyo kipindi itakuwa imekwisha. Tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8, mundu kwa mundu, kura zote Raila.
Odinga's Kisii County tour also saw him lay the foundation stone for the construction of Nyangweta Sugar Factory, an initiative of the local administration.
In not more than 2 weeks, Odinga says he will be back to his national backyard with sustained campaigns to ensure that the Azimio coalition should split all the votes in this region for him to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta in the forthcoming polls. Reporting for Prime Edition from Kisii County, Mboya.
From Gusii, let me bring you back to Nairobi, Kenya, where Deputy President William Ruto says Kenya Kwanza Alliance is working on a charter on education to provide a roadmap for the sector. Speaking while meeting university dons, Ruto said there is need to safeguard high standards of education as a strategy for sustainable development of the nation. The United Democratic Alliance presidential candidate has further reiterated his commitment to stop external borrowing if he is elected as president in the August poll. Here's that report.
If you want to destroy a nation, you do not need an atomic bomb, neither do you need long-range missiles. All you need to do is to lower the quality of education and allow cheating in exams. Because what will happen is very many people will die in the hands, very many patients will die in the hands of such doctors. Very many buildings will collapse in the hands of those kind of engineers. So much will be lost, so much money will be lost in the hands of such economists and accountants. And the whole justice system will collapse in the hands of such judges. And therefore, what you're saying here is very important to us. How we treat our lecturers, what curriculum we run, how it is run, and what it portends for us as a nation is so crucial and so important. And that is why we are going to have a special day as Kenya Kwanza, where we are going to prepare a charter on education. At the moment, we must accept that we are living beyond our means. And we need to do something about our future. It is true, debt is other people's money we can use to progress ourselves. But debt is not free. It has to be paid. And let me also tell you that debt must be a last resort.
56 days, 7 hours, and 33 minutes to go to the general poll. Now, Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu has reaffirmed the judiciary's commitment to the protection of children. Mwilu says that the judiciary has moved to ensure strict adherence to all laws protecting children and the dispensation of child-related cases within strict timelines.
A call to action.
That in some cases, children are held in cells for more than 24 hours.
A call challenging the judiciary's second in command to deliver the message that justice delayed is justice denied.
There's a girl who was sexually abused until she died. And did you like that? You didn't. And that is not good at all. And I want justice for that girl.
The Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu on Monday came face to face with challenging affecting Kenya's youngest generation.
Don't forget.
The children tasked Mwilu to ensure the judiciary remains responsive to their plight and protect them from the dangers lurking in society. The Deputy Chief Justice made a pledge to children that the judiciary will do everything within its power to ensure all laws relating to their protection are adhered to.
Tell you that the judiciary, through an organ called the National Council on the Administration of Justice, has done all there is to be done, continues to do all that there is to be done to ensure that our children are protected.
Mwilu said the judiciary will expedite children-related cases.
Leo hatukuja hapa kupass blame. It's not a day to give excuses. This is what the law says. Cases za watoto zitasikizwa within 6 months. If within 3 months those cases are not finished, certain category of those cases should be dismissed right there.
Mwilu met with 1,000 children at Mbagathi Primary School in Nairobi ahead of the International Day of the African Child slated for Thursday. While marking the Day of the African Child today, the Deputy Chief Justice who presided over the event has assured all children across the country of their safety by ensuring that the judiciary and the NCAJ will adhere to the laws put in place to protect children. Lynn Chalum for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Okay, now Kenya's foreign policy is solid and agile, with diplomats that have a sense of purpose and diplomacy, key which is in fostering local as well as international relations. Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo says that COVID-19 pandemic has taught nations that they need to work together to eliminate threats and challenges facing them. Here is the report.
It was during the official opening of the 18th Ambassador and High Commissioners Conference held at the Windsor Golf and Country Club, where Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo stated that the government had taken bold steps in fortifying security and cohesion in the country, especially after the 2017 general election.
It is only those who have foresight, those who are able to react quickly to crisis, and those who are able to leverage relationships in the midst of crisis, and then those are the countries that will succeed.
Omamo stated that Kenya had stepped up peace-seeking missions in the region since clinching the UN Security Council seat.
10 years later, we sit on the United Nations Security Council. Our president is the chair of the EAC. We've sat on the AU, Peace and Security Council. One day, when Kenyans sit down and teach our diplomats about transformational periods, this time, these 10 years, will be a case study. And I'm glad that it was done while women were in charge. Yes.
Omamo also took stock of the government's foreign policy milestone in the last 10 years in matters peace and global security in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We participated in the National COVID Response Committee, but you know, all these masks, all these vaccines, all these PPEs, how did we get them? We mobilized and we went out there and we looked for these commodities.
The one-week conference has brought together over 120 ambassadors and high commissioners.
We take stock of what challenges have we had to endeavor with, what are our achievements, what have we achieved in line with what our mandate is, and secondly, what we were guided by our leadership in terms of objectives.
Diplomacy also enables us to bring in jobs. Over the past 10 years, we've been able to bring so many conferences which have resulted in incredible opportunities for business.
The 18th edition of Ambassadors and High Commissioners Conference is the first since the COVID-19 pandemic struck, and also the first since Kenya clinched the United Nations Security Council non-permanent seat. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says Kenya's foreign policy is bold, agile and fearless, urging all stakeholders to ensure the regional peace and stability to a united East African region. For Prime Edition from the Windsor Golf and Country Club, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
From the diplomacy scorecard, let's move to Albinism Awareness Day, and Public Service and Gender Chief Administrative Secretary Lina Kilimo has called upon parents of children with albinism to expose them to the society and not to isolate them. Why? Because of their condition. Speaking at the Karisa Maitha grounds, that's in Kilifi County, she noted that government is working round the clock to ensure the needs of persons with albinism are well catered for. Here is the report.
Persons with albinism turned up at the Karisa Maitha grounds to mark the World Albinism Day. Public Service and Gender Chief Administration Secretary Lina Kilimo, who was the chief guest, said there was need to create awareness on the condition. Sentiments echoed by mothers who brought their children to the celebrations.
Today, apart from creating awareness kwa wazazi, ndio wasificha hao watoto. Wasione kama ni mzigo. Tukisema lazima wavae nguo aina hii na hii, wataanza kusema nitatoa wapi hiyo? So and that's why hata wenye wameingia hapa tumesema unajirekodi kila mahali.
Uhamasisho kwanza unaanza na mzazi, na pili kwa yule mtoto mwenyewe anayezaliwa jinsi atakavyokuwa akiishi.
Asemi hatembei, hawezi kula mwenyewe mpaka umlishe kila kitu, yani kama vile mtoto mdogo. Lakini kwa vile na watoto pia wanisaidia, mimi mwenyewe pia ni mlemavu nami pia miguu si mizuri. Lakini namshukuru Mungu.
At the same time, Kilimo assured the government has set aside funds to support those with the condition to meet their needs.
The clothing tunawapatia, sunscreen wanapatiwa, na unakuta pia hata screening of the eyes kuangalia kama wako na shida gani ya macho, hiyo inapeanwa pia.
James Muye and fellow persons with albinism acknowledge the society is steadily accepting them and they no longer live in fear as they used to.
Kile kiwango cha watu wanavyotukubali ni kidogo sana, lakini tunashukuru. Tulivyo sasa si kama miaka 5 iliyokuwa, na tuna imani ya kwamba I think pia ama nafikiria ni kwamba ni vile pia namba zetu zinaongezeka.
See, we as people with albinism, tofauti yetu ni ngozi, singine kitu macho, lakini huwa tunaweza kikazi, tunaweza kutumika, tuna akili nyingi na tunaweza kila kitu.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back to KBC Prime Edition. Now, as a young lawyer, aged 26, he stood out from the pack when he represented army rebels behind the aborted 1982 coup attempt to overthrow President Daniel Moi's government. And when the wave of opposition was sweeping right across Western Kenya, he chose to go against the grain, becoming an ardent KANU and President Moi's supporter. Tonight, in the cabinet, Jackie Wambiru focuses on Moses Wetangula, who served in President Mwai Kibaki's cabinet.
Born in 1956, Moses Masika Wetangula is a lawyer who first came to the limelight at the age of 26 years when he represented Senior Private Hezekiah Ochuka, who was accused of leading the 1982 attempted coup against President Daniel Moi's government. He served as a magistrate from 1987 to 1989. Wetangula would years later, during the clamor for multipartyism, win the heart of President Moi, becoming his close ally and defender in Western Kenya, a region dominated by the opposition led by Wamalwa Kijana. In 1992, Wetangula entered active politics when President Moi nominated him to parliament soon after the first multi-party general election in 1992. In 2002, he joined Ford Kenya and easily beat Munyasia at the party nomination, eventually replacing him as the Sirisia Member of Parliament. Ford Kenya was then under the National Alliance Coalition NAC. In 2007, he joined the Party of National Unity PNU and recaptured the Sirisia parliamentary seat and won. Wetangula would become a key figure in the government of President Mwai Kibaki, both under the National Rainbow Coalition NAC and later under the Party of National Unity PNU. He served in various cabinet positions, including a Minister for Foreign Affairs from 2008 to 2010, and then as Minister for Trade from 2012 to 2013. During the post-2007 election violence, President Kibaki turned to Wetangula and dispatched him to Addis Ababa to address the African Union. He was involved in the peace negotiations brokered by former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan.
Africa has had more than its fair share of unhelpful conflicts, and it is time we sat back and gave peace a chance so that we can focus on development.
In 2010, Wetangula was accused of making the government incur 1.6 billion shillings through purchasing a low-value land in Tokyo, Japan, for the Kenyan embassy instead of accepting a free property from the Japanese government. He stepped aside pending investigations.
I have made a personal decision to step aside from my responsibility and appointment as Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya to give room and pleasure to those who have been haunting and tormenting me for the last 3-4 weeks, to give room to the very able arms of investigation to carry out investigations, and I can assure you without any fear of contradiction that my innocence is guaranteed because I am absolutely clear.
In 2011, Wetangula was absolved of wrongdoing in Tokyo scandal and reinstated as minister. In 2013, Wetangula successfully vied for the Bungoma senatorial seat following the nullification of Muskari Kombo's win. The same year, the Coalition for Reform's Democracy Code appointed Wetangula the Senate Minority Leader. Wetangula successfully defended his senatorial seat in the 2017 elections under the National Super Alliance NASA, retaining his Minority Leader position in the Senate. However, in March 2018, Wetangula was ousted from the Senate minority leadership and replaced by Siaya Senator James Orengo of the Orange Democratic Alliance, ODM. Ahead of the 2022 general election, Wetangula and his Ford Kenya party joined the One Kenya Alliance, OKA, to support Deputy President William Ruto's bid for presidency. Reporting for the Cabinet, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Now, from the Cabinet, we focus now on today's business news stories. My name is Caroline Jenga. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Mboya says the government plans to settle all arrears owed to sugarcane farmers and workers in the 5 state-owned mills before August this year. Mboya says the decision is meant to enable the new administration start on a clean slate. He says the process has started and is midway.
Reforms in the sugar subsector, among them privatizing or leasing the 5 state-owned sugar factories, have run into headwinds due to, among others, debt owed by the sugar mills. The latest plan to lease the 5 millers were stopped by the court after sugarcane farmers and workers moved to sought legal action on account of arrears they are owed by the millers. To address such issues, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Mboya says the government has started settling the arrears and is midway.
We're trying to compensate, to pay farmers for the arrears they have been accumulated, especially in the government-run factories. We've not cleared all of them, but we want to clear all of them. We want to clear all of them going forward. We will do that in this financial year, the new financial year that they are going. We will have a clean slate so that farmers can start.
Speaking in Kisumu when he unveiled the Sugar Task Force report, Mboya said the government will soon introduce quality-based cane payment system where farmers will be paid based on the sucrose content as opposed to the weight of the cane to motivate farmers to embrace quality sugarcane varieties to reap and maximize their earnings.
Tutasame mambo ya bei, mkulima aweze kupata bei ambayo inamwezesha kupata income na inamwezesha kurinvest kwa hiyo sector.
The report indicates that sugarcane transport accounts for 22% of costs, followed by seed cane at 20%, labor 17%, fertilizer and land preparations at 13%, harvesting 11%, and levies at 2%.
Challenge ya transportation ambayo kunakuwa na ile inaitwa post-harvest loss kubwa up to 5%. Hiyo yote ukitupa 5% of your crop is a disaster. Hiyo tutatazama vile itakuwa organized better working with the counties.
Mboya challenged millers to embrace bioconversion of sugarcane residue for value-added products for cogeneration, distillation, pulp, paper, fertilizer, and making of briquettes.
Moving on, Kenya is banking on innovation and private sector investment to drive the growth of renewable energy. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority says the two will help Kenya achieve 100% transition to renewable energy. IPRA says Kenya is currently utilizing renewable energy sources with over 85% of electricity generation from renewable sources.
According to the Ministry of Energy Statistics, Kenya's electricity generation mix consists of geothermal at 48.6%, hydro at 36.5%, while wind and thermal power accounts for 11.5% and 6.5%. According to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, geothermal has the largest installed capacity of 863.1 megawatts, followed by hydro at 838.1 megawatts, wind at 435.5 megawatts, solar at 90.3 megawatts, and biomass at 2%. However, experts say Kenya has huge potential for renewable energy, with geothermal alone having a capacity to generate 15,000 megawatts. Kenya is targeting a 100% switch to green energy sources by the year 2030. EPRA says Kenya has an installed capacity of 100 megawatts from solar, though it has a capacity to generate 15,000 megawatts. EPRA says Kenya is banking on innovation and increased investments in solar power to deepen solar energy production. EPRA Senior Renewable Energy Officer Nixon Bukachi says sectors such as manufacturing are continuously adopting solar energy, bringing the country that much closer to its green energy goals.
Of course, for grid-tie systems, they continue growing every day, because you have seen more factories, more institutions installing solar systems on their grid. In form of new plants coming to the grid, we expect 140 megawatts, that's Malindi Solar, to be fully operational this year.
Energy experts are now saying digital infrastructure is one of the core areas whose growth is essential to drive the adoption and generation of energy from a renewable source.
A lot of, new developments which are being castigated or are being pushed by the DFIs. So we have mini-grids and microgrids which are being pushed. So essentially, this is something that we are working together with various partners that we have across. So I think that's something which is ongoing.
Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Hibak Said, for that story. Now, formalization of small and medium enterprises in Kenya has been fronted as the road to growth of the sector for increased job creation. The SMEs Alliance of Kenya has called for the registration of small businesses in order to fully benefit from the formalization of the sector, as well as champion their interests.
A National Economic Survey report by the Central Bank of Kenya indicates that SMEs constitute 98% of all businesses, create 30% of the jobs annually, as well as contribute 3% of the GDP. Despite the sector accounting for a large percent of most businesses in the country, it is often left out of the negotiation table or out of formulation of policies affecting them. Experts are now calling for reforms within the sector to enable accelerate economic growth as its potential remains untapped.
The SME Alliance of Kenya, we are looking to have even census of who are SMEs, how many SMEs do we have in the country, and sectoral based, how many are in this sector, so that when you are making decisions or policies, you can be able to know how many people you are targeting per sector and what is the impact of each sector in the economy of this country.
The Alliance also called for the creation of policies through structured engagements with the government and other stakeholders to further the growth of the sector.
What Kenya requires is a regulatory policy to build up its cluster of textile producers alongside second-hand clothing operators, creating capacity for long-term innovation and growth.
Equity Bank Kenya Managing Director Gerald Warui said that the lender would commit to supporting local SMEs through financial literacy training initiatives meant to spur emerging business trends in the coming year.
The way forward, institutions are digitizing, so please don't be left behind in digitizing your enterprises.
Nduta Mukami for Prime Edition.
That story by Nduta Mukami brings to a close business news for tonight, but you can find more stories on our website at kbc.co.ke. Up next is the Forex market report. Then later on, we'll have a short break, and then Mboya will be bringing us the sports.
Top sports attractions on KBC Channel 1. In July, Kenya Morans face off against the DRC, Egypt and Senegal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt from 1st to 3rd of July 2022. Also in July, Kenya plays South Africa in Rugby League test matches in Nairobi with a return fixture set for October. Still in July, watch the World Athletic Championships from 15th to 24th July live from Oregon, USA as Kenyan athletes seek glory. Followed by the 22nd Commonwealth Games from 28th July to 8th August live from Birmingham, England. In August, join our coverage of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships from the 1st to 6th of August 2022 from Cali, Colombia. Then, in November, catch the World Half Marathon Championships on 13th November from Yangzhou, China. Now that's what sets us apart as KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
It's been 7 days. I'm scared for her.
I'm afraid everyone in the whole world knows that they can't find you in your mansion in the north. But they'll find you here. Wow, you're pretty good with the ladies.
Huh? Congratulations, Your Majesty, Your Highness.
Please inform Echo that I wish to speak with him right now.
I suggest you leave.
Welcome to Sports. I'm sitting in for Richard Munga. Now, the government has lauded Team Kenya's performance at the 22nd edition of the African Athletic Championships in Mauritius. The triumphant team, which arrived back today to a rush's welcome, top to the medal standings at the championship that attracted a total of 47 countries.
The Kenyan team topped the medal standings for the 4th time in the history of the championship, returning with a total of 23 medals, 10 gold, 5 silver and 8 bronze medals. The performance saw Kenya peep South Africa to the pole position. Now Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed has promised that the government will work out a reward formula for the medalists in earnest.
I think that we'll be having discussions with their leaders, with their technical bench, with the president, with the vice president, going forward, and we will be making sure that they feel the support of their country as they have done before.
Out of the 10 gold medals that were won, sprints contributed 2 gold medals and further 2 silver and 3 bronze, becoming largest sprints medal haul by Kenya at the African meet.
The last time was in Egypt, whereby we won the 4x1. But now for all that time, we've won the 4x100 meters with being anchored by Omanyala. And that is very important. Now also for Omanyala to win the gold medal in 100 meters, it means that sprint is coming up. You've seen Maximila Imali breaking the record, the Kenyan record, and running even 23. The last time we saw our athletes running 23, women athletes, it was superb. And also for Veronica Mutua getting a bronze medal in 400 meters, that was superb. And for the ladies getting the 4x4 silver medals, that was good performance from the sprinters.
Training, teamwork, really it's a teamwork sports. So kila mtu kwa team alikuwa akichangamka training, and at least kila mtu ali do his best. So that's why tuka manage kuleta.
Newly crowned 100 meters Africa champion Ferdinand Omanyala revealed his plans, saying he is now focused to the forthcoming World Athletics Championship, where he hopes to leave a mark on the world stage.
When I was leaving the country, I went there with one goal, to get that title, because I'm the African record holder, but I did not have that title. So I went to complete that circle and just get that title.
and then move on to the next, the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games. So the next target you're setting is the medal in the World Championships, because there's no African who has ever medaled in the World Championships.
2015 world champion Julius Yego won his 4th African javelin title in style, registering a season best with a throw of 79.62 meters. He hopes to build on the momentum ahead of the national trials for the World Championship.
Yesterday we had a very difficult competition with a huge, rain and, very unfriendly wind. But then I had such kind of result, another season best with that kind of conditions. And I thank God, because I feel I'm now okay, I'm healthy. My rhythm is back, my technique is back, so waiting for another opportunity, and to see what I can do. So I think what is remaining for me is, we have the World Championship trials and the Commonwealth Games trials coming up back in like 10 days or so.
After the Africa Championships, athletes switch their focus to the June 24th to 25th national trials, where tickets to the World Athletics Championship and Commonwealth Games will be at stake. The World Championship is scheduled for Oregon, USA from the 15th to 24th of July, while the Commonwealth Games will be held in Birmingham, UK between 28th of July to 8th of August. Bernard Okumu, Primetime Edition.
Well done, Team Kenya. Now, the Kenya beach volleyball duo of Gaudensia Makoha and Bragsidis Agala lost to Poland in their final pool phase match at the World Championship in Rome. Meanwhile, the Kenya Volleyball Federation is appealing for funds for the Malkia strikers on the road to the World Championships.
After losses to Germany and Italy, Kenya faced Poland in their final Pool L match. Gaudensia Makoha and Bragsidis Agala lost to the team of Kiga Wojnarowski and Katarzyna Kosiek in straight sets of 21-8 and 21-17. The Kenyan duo will now wait for the knockout phase draw to know their opponents in tomorrow's placing matches. Meanwhile, the Kenya Volleyball Federation Deputy President Charles Nyaberi has appealed to the Ministry of Sports to fund the Malkia Strikers training camps in Brazil and Serbia ahead of September's World Championships.
We have 35 participants, and out of those 6 are from outside Kenya. We have participants from Uganda and South Sudan, to give it a blend of the international touch. We are very, very happy with this particular lot, because for the first time we have a high number of senior and retired players.
The Malkia Strikers are in Pool A of the World Championships and face hosts the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, Puerto Rico and African rivals Cameroon.
It's a good initiative, kwa sababu kupata international coaching kwa sama refi ni ngumu sana. Most of the time inakuanga outside Kenya, so it's advantage. Kama mtu kama mimi, I'm still playing na unapata naenda course kama hii, maybe after like nikiretire ndakuwa na zile international level coaching course, so naweza kuwa nasaidia maybe high school ama academy ama international school.
The World Championships will take place from 23rd of September to 15th of October in the Netherlands and Poland. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Now, 70 cars and 40 motorcycles have been entered for this year's automobile pageantry, Concours d'Elegance, scheduled for the 25th of September at Ngong Race Course. Among the cars that have been enlisted for this year's event, which will also be the 50th edition of the car and bike competition, include a rare 1990 Lancia Delta Integrale. Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed, who graced the launch, reckoned the event was primed to attract a bumper entry to match its billing. Event Director Bob Dower revealed that this year's edition regulations remains unchanged. The cars will be judged on originality, with the marks being awarded based on 1, cleanliness, 2, condition, and 3, standards of the preparation of participating cars as well as motorcycles.
The ramp with the judging of the underside. Cars are then driven along in front of the main racecourse grandstands.
The Concours d'Elegance is a long-standing annual event, and it brings to full display classic and vintage cars and motorcycles. The event has gained international status. I think evidence is the recognition that Bob received in Paris, and as well as recognition also by the International Motorcycling Federation.
Very well, 8-year-old Arna Mengi and 11-year-old Peter Gavogo emerged the overall winners of the 10th leg of Safaricom Golf Tour Junior Tournament held at PAR 73 Kitale Golf Club. Mengi, a grade 3 pupil at Montessori Schools, extended her victory from Kericho to defend a top position to be named the overall best girl of the juniors tournament on 42 points. Nakuru's Golf Club junior grade 6 student at the Christ the King Academy, Peter Gavogo, who was in his best form, carded a splendid gross of 76 points to claim the best boy title. Meanwhile, it was an amazing day for home junior golfers as they dominated the 11 to 12-year category. 11-year-old Pius Gumo beat DM Songo to claim the title on 116 gross, while Sherlyn Bungay scored 107 points to beat her challenger Chamaine Akiru on 114 points to win the girls' 11 to 12-year category title. The action now takes a short break and will resume on the 9th with the 11th leg to be held in Nakuru. Well, that's all we had in sports, and that's also what we had on this day that the IEBC embarked on training journalists across the country on election coverage ahead of the August poll. On behalf of the Prime Edition, including Lensa Odinga, I want to thank you for watching. My name is Mboya. Good night from the capital city here in Nairobi, Kenya. Bye-bye.